Hey there guys, it's Metro, and tonight we're taking a look at the Marianette encounter, third gym battle in Pokemon Rejuvenation, and the field on the screen is the one that we have to deal with once again, two back-to-back gyms with it. This time it is a lot more complicated to manipulate. In fact, you're really just going to have to play defensive because there's no real way to manipulate it. None of the strong points of it can actually be used against her team for any strength, so we have to try to mitigate it as much as possible, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The things to keep in mind for this field right there are you seeing special normal moves increase in 1.5, all right, and then hidden power also increased by 1.5. These two things are going to come into play pretty greatly against this gym, and you need to be prepared for that. That is the biggest part of this field. At the end, I do actually manipulate the field a little bit for just for some fun. There's no real reason to do it, but it is kind of fun to mess with the field, guys. That's my favorite part of this game. So on the screen, you'll see the team I use here. This is a tough gym because you don't have any clear-cut, obvious choices for fighting types. The ones I've chosen we'll talk about, but yeah, in general, if you don't pick a fighting starter, which I think a lot of people do anyway, you're going to struggle with this gym a lot. It's very difficult to find the right balance. So every teammate has to be used properly, and I'll show you exactly why and how. So just so you're aware before we get started here, okay, Medicham has to have a lot of tweaking done to it for me to be satisfied with it. First of all, it has to have huge power, all right, the ability that boosts its attack, obviously. Then it has to have some high EVs in attack, or at least really good IVs in attack. Basically, the benchmark is, can you one-shot the Chinchino? If you can't, then your Medicham is not sufficient. And then, of course, it needs to evolve, which it evolves over the cap, or maybe it's at 35, but either way, you need to make it evolve and then de-level it so it actually can stay friendly for you when you're attacking. Now, I took the liberty of doing a lot of EV training for this battle. It wasn't necessarily needed. Maybe Sudowoodo was probably the second clearest case of its need, and maybe Zebstrika as well. I use Zebstrika to great effect against the Chatot, so that's another benchmark. If you cannot one-shot the Chatot that she has, then your Zebstrika, or at least your answer, is probably not sufficient in general. So the best way to do EV training is right outside the mansion. There's Arbucks that give 2 attack EV per kill, so you can just grind on them for a while. Yeah, so let's get right into the footage. There's lots to show here, so this is going to be a longer one. So the main function I'm trying to convey here is just how RNG dependent this battle actually can be. You're going to see 2 clear-cut victories and then other stuff that's not. But the main thing here you need to mitigate with the Heliolisk is, of course, that damage right there. The only way I could easily do it is with a sturdy Graveler, so I'd recommend doing that. And all you need to do is do some ground damage, and he's off the field. Once again, with magnitude is very easy to do. Like I mentioned before, the benchmark right here is being set. Cannot one-shot the Chinchino, and it is done easily with high jump kick, which obviously has to land, so there's RNG there. Now next up is the Chatot, which I also spoke about. Can you one-shot it? If not, it's going to be a huge pain, so make sure your benchmark is met there with Zebstrika or whatever type of Pokemon you want to deal with. And next up is Pyroar, which can change. You see it's the male version, but for some reason it doesn't seem to work consistently. Like sometimes it's the female, which has different stats, so the battle's a little different, but in general, the male one is the easier one. He cannot kill my Sudowoodo whatsoever, so we just take him out with 2 rock moves. Now this is where things start to get a little dicey. All right, this is where you need to mitigate a Hyper Beam. You'll see it at some point, I know that, but either way, the goal is to just eat the Hyper Beam and then come into another Pokemon that could kill Porygon, which it doesn't really go down that way this battle, but in general, that's what I'm aiming for. So here you'll probably see it here. Magnitude 8 gonna do some damage, but is he gonna Hyper Beam? Yeah, there you go. So there you go. So now he's Hyper Beamed and he's not in health range for pot. So I can just send in my Medicham and it will one-shot the it will finish the Porygon from there. And that's the goal. You want to just mitigate that Hyper Beam. Just have a Pokemon that can eat it and then switch out of it, and try to finish him from whatever health is remaining, because that's where things get crazy. So now here you go. This is oh, JK, I got crit. So yeah, that's the strategy we'll talk about later. But this is the way you can do it. You can obviously just survive the hits on any Pokemon. He only uses 1 damaging ability, really, maybe 2, and you can kill the Slacking very easily. But I like to manipulate the field a little bit, so I'll show you guys how to do that in subsequent tries here. But now we'll see some bad RNG. I mean, that was bad RNG as well. Obviously, the crit was not what we were after there, but we got it. And sometimes you get, you get crit, you make critinator. Anyway, yeah, so same deal here. Just mitigate that damage with a sturdy, and of course take out the Helioisk with a single move. It's the only way you're going to be able to do that with Graveler. Obviously, he needs to be able to one-shot him. You can try a fighting type as well. I did that, but like I said, you really don't have a lot of good options for fighting types. So here we're back to where we are before. One-shot Cinccino, one-shot Chita. If you can't do it, you're in trouble. The battle's going to just really get complicated if you have to actually fight these Pokemon. They're really finesse, they're a great deal of finesse in terms of their kits. Obviously Cinccino especially, and then Chita could confuse you and do all kinds of weird stuff. So now we have the female Pyroar, and it does a lot more damage. As you see, I barely survive with 8 health there, but I do survive. I get the damage roll on my side. There's a chance there that, of course, with the female Pyroar, it could kill me before I can kill it, so there's some RNG too. Same deal here. Once again, Porygon, you want to try to bait his big damage, which is Hyper Beam, powered up by the field. But I think, I'm playing poorly here. I should be trying to go for Force Palm to try to get the status on him. I don't have the whatever ability is that negates status on your stuff. So, but yeah. Anyway, Slacking comes in, guys. So here you go. This is what I'm talking about, man. These switches. I don't know. I don't understand what's causing that in this game. I don't like that at all. I really, if Pokemon could just never switch, I'd be satisfied with that. Like outside of abilities like U-turn and stuff. Like I understand that, but for some reason this thing comes in. So I'll show you a little bit about what I'm trying to do here. Now, you're basically trying to confuse him, so every other turn when he does do damage, he hits himself instead. And then put the burn up, so if he does hit you, it barely does damage. And then just for good measure, we're using Ominous Wind, which changes the field to the Haunted one that we'll use against Narcissa. I believe this is the field that she has. But just a little bit aside about Dusclops, he is a Shadow Pokemon that you can catch early, so you really do, if you're going to do this, if you want to follow this strategy, at least you need him. So if you didn't get him, you're shit out of luck, really. You can't go back and get him. But on the bright side, like I showed you, you do not need him in any way. This is definitely not the foundation of strategy. Strategy is a much more conventional one, but I want to disrupt the field just kind of for fun. And I'll do exactly what I described here against the remaining Porygon health. Just make that Hyper Beam hit something that you don't care about, and then go in and finish him. And that is that. It's a pretty interesting battle when you look at it that way, but I kind of like, the field manipulation. And like I said, there's no real way to do that, because anything that you would manipulate would not actually help you kill her team. Like her team is all, basically built around offense instead of defense, but there's nothing strategical to be gained from the field. So it's honestly better to just evaporate the field so she can't use it, because she is going to use it, Almost every one of her Pokemon can use the field. Whereas, none of your Pokemon really can. So I was considering that much heavier strategy, where I just get rid of the field and start trying to use the Ghost Field to my advantage. But it doesn't seem to work how I expected it to, so it's just not really working out there. I just decided to go with this strat instead. And this is pretty similar to what I did the first time I came through here in my actual Let's Play, minus obviously a few different Pokemon that she has. And I don't have Hitmonlee. I don't know where I missed that. I don't know, maybe it's just not in the game anymore. But Hitmonlee, I remember, was somebody that carried me, but instead now I have to use Hariyama, big Japanese guy, so that's cool. But Pyroar, there you see it. I get the burn, and that's pretty much, and the switch. It's just, I might as well just, don't know why I'm even still playing at this point. I try to salvage it, but yeah, you're not salvaging this. Burn is going to make me do less damage with my physical attack, and that is what I'm banking on. And of course, the switch just completely screws the strategy. So even though I'm able to kill the Porygon, things do not go as planned. Yeah, Flamethrower is going to kill him, and that's just horrible. I try to finish the job with Hariyama. Let's see what actually happens. Hidden Power, uh-oh. I survive it, though. Force Palm, and it does take it out. So, I mean, I guess you could salvage this here. This is the thing about these battles, man. I just don't know what's actually happening here. What's with the switching? But what do? Do we get crit again or something? Night Slash. Yeah, it's just too much damage. Just kills me. So that's a bad roll there. Later on, I come to realize, I should have realized this before I started, but you basically want to do the same thing with this as I did for Porygon 2. You can just bait his first move, and then you have a turn to set up, like a free turn, because you have the free turn anyway, and you might as well switch in. Like, there's absolutely no penalty against that. And then all you have to do is roll high on the Confuse, and you're back to exactly where you want to be, But, yeah. So, yeah, we'll get another good look here, and then this is going to be the end of it. Graveler, like I said, is the rock of our team. He's the rock. He means like he's consistent, right? It's really good. Really good joke there, but obviously consistency is what you need in these battles. You need to make sure you limit as many variables as possible, and in this battle there are quite a few on the latter end of the spectrum. So Zebstrika, the three first Pokemon need to be instant. Like, there needs to be no doubt about that. And when I make a mistake like that, it doesn't look good on screen. I actually used Pursuit there by accident, but it doesn't really matter because Chatot cannot actually kill my Zebstrika. It would need 2 turns, and it does not have 2 turns. So here, once again, female Pyroar. Miss Pyroar! Oh god, Metro, your Pokemon are so useful. Look at that pseudo-widow damage. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Porygon 2, same deal. We try to bait the thing. We just do exactly what we're trying to do this time. Since Medichamp's lower, I'm going to send him in and try to use Hariyama to finish it. Psyshock's going to finish me, and now he's going to heal. So this is actually exactly where you want to be. Hariyama comes in, and I'm fishing for a Force Palm, something good out of that, but I don't get it. Doesn't really matter because I will finish it here, and that is that. Porygon 2 can be dangerous, obviously, but yeah, sometimes you get lucky. It just doesn't use Hyper Beam. Then Zebstrika is coming in to eat a slacking hit. Like I said, that's all you want, is to try to just eat his first move there, which is Earthquake. It actually baits the Earthquake. That's why I put Zebstrika in, just to make sure there's no funny business. Not funny, you know. And now he's loafing around, so we throw a Confuse Ray and watch what happens, guys. Raw magic. Now I actually do this out of order, out of sequence. I was meant to make the field Ghost first, because when it's Ghost, Will-O-Wisp has a higher chance of hitting. And then Ominous Wind has a higher chance of increasing your stats, but I did this 4 times. I did not get a single stat increase, which I guess is unlucky, but either way, now your Ghost moves can hit him. The first one won't actually hit him, but it doesn't matter because it's just fun to break the field, you know what I mean? And you couldn't actually do this without it. Like, you wouldn't be able to deal damage if you don't change the field, so that's kind of why this is fun. And you just, I mean, look at this. This is like ultimate stall fest. I'm pretty sure he heals like 8 times because I'm at 11.5 minutes and I still have over a minute left to beat this Pokemon. So he obviously heals a bunch, and it doesn't matter because no matter what he does, even if he would have to snap out of Confusion and then hit me for a crit. I think that'd be the only way he could finish me off at this point, because his burn is going to really hurt him in terms of his stab. Well, it's not even stab, but his physical attack, Earthquake, and all these different moves he has. And then, of course, my putting Confusion on him every once in a while. He can only hit 1 every 2 turns anyway. So it's like a free 4 turns if you do get the Confuse. And that's absolutely what we're going for. So I think that's fun. I think manipulating it that way is fun. This is kind of like half and half. Like, we're manipulating the field a bit. If it wasn't for the field, there's no way this would be possible because we wouldn't be able to deal damage. But technically, you can just send him in to put these statuses up and then switch out, I guess. But that's no fun, guys. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. Next up is Narcissa, which is going to be a lot harder than this, I'd imagine. But I did enjoy screwing over Marianette, man. She's a little cutie, but she's still a tough trainer.